Okay, let's talk about something that's probably got you pretty worried. There's almost nothing worse than putting down your cat's favorite food and nothing. They just ignore it. It's super stressful, and your mind just starts racing, right? So, we're going to get into the big reasons why your cat might be on a hungry strike, and more importantly, what you can do about it.
When your cat stops eating, it's not just them being fussy. It's often their main way of waving a little red flag and saying, hey, something's not right here. So figuring out what they're trying to tell you is absolutely key, because catching a problem early can make a huge difference.
So here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this like a detective. First, we'll look at the serious stuff, potential medical problems. Then, we'll see if maybe your cat's just stressed out. After that, we'll investigate the food itself. And then we'll get into what you can do right now and the absolute must-know signs for when it's time to call the vet.
First things first, and this is always where you have to start. We need to think about their health. A cat suddenly deciding not to eat is one of the biggest signs that they're dealing with some kind of pain or illness. So this is, without a doubt, the most important thing to consider. And the tricky part is, it could be so many things. It might be something pretty obvious, like a sore tooth that makes chewing hurt, but it could also be something you can't see, like an upset stomach, a fever from an infection, or even something more serious, like kidney or liver trouble, which you see a lot, especially in older cats.
So here's what you really need to watch for. If your cat isn't eating and you see them vomiting, or they're just super tired and not moving around much, or you notice they're suddenly losing weight, those are major red flags. That combination of symptoms is a clear sign to stop guessing and get your vet on the phone immediately.
Okay, so if you're pretty sure it's not a medical emergency, the next thing to look at is your cat's world. Cats are such creatures of habit, They are incredibly sensitive, and stress can absolutely make them lose their appetite completely. I mean, just look at the difference here. On one side, you have all the things that can totally freak a cat out. Moving to a new house, loud construction next door, maybe even a new puppy chasing them around. Any big change can cause anxiety. What you're aiming for is the other side, a calm, predictable space where your cat feels safe enough to just relax and, eat. So, what if your cat doesn't seem sick and things at home are pretty chill? Well, the next suspect is pretty obvious. It might just be the food itself. Sometimes the simplest answer is staring right back at you from the food bowl. Cats can be such food critics, right? Maybe the dry food has been sitting out and gone a little stale, or maybe you changed their food brand too quickly without mixing it in slowly, or honestly, it could just be a preference. Some cats are all about that wet food life, while others will only eat crunchy kibble. Here's a little trick you can try right away. Appeal to their sense of smell. Cats are so driven by scent, so warming up a little bit of wet food just to make it more aromatic can be super enticing. Seriously, sometimes that's all it takes. Or hey, break out their absolute favorite treat. All right, you've thought through the possibilities. So what can you physically do at home right now to try and get things back on track? Let's go over a quick little checklist. Let's break it down. First, don't overwhelm them with a giant bowl of food. Just offer a tiny little bit of something you know they love. Second, make sure they have plenty of fresh, clean water. If they're dehydrated, they're not going to want to eat. Third, try to create that calm, quiet space we were talking about. And last, you've got to be a detective. Watch them closely for any other little changes in their behavior. We've now come to what is maybe the most important part of this whole thing. Because while trying things at home is great, you absolutely have to know when it's time to stop and get a professional involved. Waiting too long with a cat can be really dangerous. This number right here, this is your magic number. A cat really shouldn't go more than a day, maybe two, without eating. See, unlike a lot of other animals, when cats don't eat, they can develop a really serious liver condition. So if you're past the 24-hour mark, it's definitely time to at least call your vet for advice. So how do you know if this is a wait-and-see situation or a drop everything and go to the vet now situation? Well, there are some symptoms that are just not negotiable. They mean it's an emergency. If you see any of these things, the time for home remedies is officially over. If they haven't eaten for 2 full days, if they've clearly lost weight, if there's vomiting or diarrhea, any trouble at all with breathing, or if they're just completely weak and out of it, these are signs of a major problem. Please, do not wait. It is always, always better to be safe than sorry. At the end of the day, a cat who won't eat is trying to communicate with you. They're not being stubborn or difficult. They're sending you a message in one of the only ways they can. By paying close attention, you become more than just their owner. You're their #1 advocate. So take a good look. What is your cat trying to tell you?